Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and iOS 15.4 Beta 1 has been out for well over a week at this point, and I want to talk about even more new features that are in this particular update. I've been using it full time on my 13 Pro Max, so after the new features section, we'll talk about the overall experience, battery life, remaining bugs, and more, as I've had it full time on my main device as well as my iPad Pro. Now, the first new feature has to do with the magnifier. If we go into the magnifier, you'll see that we have a new icon here for the camera. If we tap on the camera, we can now switch between auto, telephoto, macro, and the selfie camera. So we can spin that around and use the magnifier for that. So that's a new feature. You will not see it on 15.3. So that's built in. If we go into the magnifier, you just don't have the icon for the camera. So it's just not there. Also, within music or on the music icon, there's a new change as well. Press and hold or 3D touch, haptic press. We'll do it one more time here. And I miss 3D touch for sure. Press and hold. You'll see that we have some new options. Play most recent and play my station. So it will play your radio station that they've curated for you based on your likes as well as your most recent song. On the older version, it doesn't do that. Within the music app, if you're playing a song and you tap on the three menu dots, you'll see under view full lyrics, there's actually a new icon. So on the right is the new version, on the left is the old version, and view full lyrics just has a new icon that matches share lyrics as well. Just a slight change there. Also within the music app, my friend Steve Mosier found a new music icon that might relate to maybe a new classical music service coming out later on. We're not really sure yet, but it's a purple icon instead. So an Apple Music purple icon, maybe it will be coming with iOS 16. We don't really know, but it looks like something new. There's also an updated AirPods icon. So if we go into our settings, go to accessibility, scroll down to where it says AirPods. Under AirPods, you'll see that the icon has been updated. So the old one is on the left, the new one is on the right, showing AirPods Pro, where it was more of a over-the-ear headphones on the left, maybe AirPods Max. And thanks to Vasile for sending this in. Within the Home app, there's code referencing the ability to have dynamic wallpaper in the background. I wasn't able to find a setting for this yet, but it looks like it's in the code for something we could see in the future. Also in the Stocks app, there's a slight change. So if we go into Stocks, within Stocks, and if we scroll up from the bottom where we have business news, you'll see that it looks a little bit more like iOS 15 style, where you have boxes around different things. Before we didn't have that. On the left here, you can see it's sort of borderless. On the right, we have more of the iOS 15 stylized borders that surround all of the different news stories. So that's been updated with this update. Also within news, there's a change as well. Under News, if you tap on Audio in the center, you'll see that it has a new section at the top that says Editor's Picks. So you can scroll through. It looks a little bit different. And below, as you scroll down, you'll see more to explore. All audio stories, sports, and recently played. It's just a little bit different, and they've updated the UI within News. Within third-party apps such as Spotify, there's also a new SharePlay button. Now, I showed you this in the Music app, where again, if you tap the three dots, you can SharePlay and it has a new icon there. I showed that in the What's New video. However, if you go into Spotify or other third-party apps and go to share a song, tap on the share button. Once you share the song, tap on more, and here you can see there's a new SharePlay icon. So it's just a new icon to allow you to SharePlay within third-party apps. Within Wallet, I found a change where if you press the plus in the upper right, you now add to Wallet. You'll see it says available cards, but it also gives suggestions from other apps that can actually add a pass to Wallet. So you'll see it says from apps on your iPhone, and now it's listing an app. So on 15.3, I have the exact same app installed, but it's not showing up. So it's a small change, but it is something that's different, and it now can suggest it, letting you know that you have additional functionality from third-party apps. Also, there's a change that has to do with Safari. So if you're using Safari, maybe on a Mac, you're probably already familiar with if maybe you go to a website, they have a new post, they can notify you when they post something new. This is functionality we don't have on iOS yet, but it looks like we might in the future. If we go into our settings, scroll down to Safari. Under Safari, go to the bottom, go to Advanced. Under Advanced, go to Experimental Features, and scroll down just a bit. You'll see built-in web notifications. You can now be notified when you go to different websites that have those notifications if you want to. So that might be a feature right now that they're trying out. It might be a permanent feature in the future where it asks you just like it does on a Mac. Now, some time ago, we got security recommendations. Maybe if we have a passcode that's been compromised, now there's an additional notification that pops up that's been found. Mac Rumors found this, and you'll see here that maybe you have a notification. It says hide the security recommendation. You can hit hide or cancel. So that's something they've updated. Just a quick way to get rid of that. If you've already changed it, maybe you have duplicates, it gets rid of that notification permanently. So it's a nice little update. I haven't seen it, but they're seeing it in the Keychain app or when they go to a site that needs that. Within your settings, if you go to Face ID and Passcode, under Face ID and Passcode, if you scroll down, you have the option to allow access when locked. If you turn this off for Apple Wallet, there's a new UI. So maybe you don't want your cards to show right away when you double-click the power button. This keeps that from showing up, but they've changed the user interface. So if I lock the phone, double-press the power button. Oh, let's try it one more time. I triple-pressed it that time. Let's go ahead and lock it, double-press. And you'll see we have a new UI. If we go on the other phone with 15.3, double click, you'll see that it just says Face ID. So now it's sort of saying face not recognized, enter passcode. It's just a little bit different interface with a face at the top. Within reminders, they've updated this as well. Tap on new reminder, tap the little camera icon, and you now have the option to scan text, just like you do in the Notes app. So again, if we go into reminders on 15.3, you'll see if we tap the camera icon, we only have the option for scan document. So now we can scan text as well. It just gives us a little extra control as to what we want to do specifically. Now that new Face ID functionality where you can use the phone without using an Apple Watch to unlock it if you're wearing a face mask or glasses or with glasses works pretty well, but can be a little bit slow from time to time. I'm hearing feedback about that. And of course, we want to submit that via feedback so that Apple knows about that as well if they don't already. However, many people keep asking, will they bring that to older phones? And the answer is we don't really know. Apple has not specified that it's specific to the 12 and newer. So maybe they'll bring it to an older version, but it could have something to do with the neural engine internally where it just can't do the advanced calculations or doesn't have the power to do it rapidly. So we don't really know yet. There isn't an official word from Apple whether they can or can't do it or what's causing that, but at least in the first beta, we've had it on this device. When beta 2 comes out, of course, we'll check and see if they've updated devices so you can do that in additional devices. Hopefully we'll see that. Now, before I share the remaining issues, I wanted to share my battery life. So if I go into settings, go to battery health on this device is 100%. I charge it every night and when I'm in my car. And we'll take a look at yesterday. I had 2 hours and 24 minutes of screen on time, 5 hours and 50 minutes of screen off time, with Mail using quite a bit with notifications for some reason. I did have others say that Mail was using a lot, and I used over 50% of my battery life. The day before, when I used 100% of my battery, or almost, I only had 4 hours and 55 minutes of screen on time and 6 hours and 48 minutes of screen off time. This beta has not been good for me as far as battery. In fact, the first night that I had it installed, or the first couple of nights, I went to bed with about 20 to 30% of my battery life left. Typically, I'm well over 50%. I'm well within the day, and I'm at 70% right now, and that's just not great. So hopefully it improves. It's an early beta, so I don't really hold that against it. But as far as the iPad goes, I wanted to share that as well. Now, on the iPad with iPadOS 15.4 Beta 1, if we go to Settings, go to Battery, wait for it to load here, you'll see that my battery usage hasn't been that great over the past few days. So you'll see it's only using about 25% of the battery. You'll see yesterday it says I used 4 minutes, but 20 hours and 17 minutes of screen off time, which makes no sense as I don't use this with my screen off. Also the day before, an hour and 23 minutes. It's also reporting incorrectly when I last charged it. It says last charged to 78%. On Tuesday, it's 7:30 p.m. We're currently at 81%. So it didn't count the charge that I put it on last night. So there's some odd battery calculations going on. Maybe they're working on this to get this to work properly. So definitely some odd issues with battery in 15.4 Beta 1. Now the overall experience is definitely very smooth and fast, but it's not terribly stable for me. And the reason I say that is sometimes Safari doesn't load websites properly, whether you're on Private Relay or not. And I've also had some odd resprings or the phone crashing. When I clear notifications, I actually had that happen. I cleared all notifications, the phone completely crashed, then it rebooted and it was back to normal. I've also had to hard reboot it a couple times, and some of that has to do with data connectivity. So in the morning, often when I wake up, Wi-Fi will not be connected for some reason. However, if I go into my settings, it shows that I'm connected. The status in the status bar at the top right just shows that it's not there. I've also had this happen with cellular connectivity. It will show almost no bars or zero signal, yet I'll have a great signal and be able to go on Safari or stream music without any problems whatsoever. So the status is not indicating the proper status. And I've also had issues with Bluetooth. So an example would be with my car, when you walk up next to a Tesla, it actually senses it via Bluetooth and unlocks for you. It wasn't doing that, and it wasn't allowing me to connect AirPods easily or anything else. I had to fully turn off Bluetooth, and then it worked again. Other times I couldn't get things to work again until I fully rebooted the phone. Sometimes there's weird things showing up where maybe an icon's missing or different things like that, where maybe an image should be and there's just nothing there. So there's some very odd bugs in this particular update, but Bluetooth and Signal and things are mostly pretty good. Signal between switching 5G, 5G UC, 4G have been great on this update, but just the actual status indication of it has not been great. So very strange bugs in this update. Now, I have had some people say that the pink screen issue is fixed, meaning that the phone will sort of crash, go to a pink or purple screen, and then reboot. However, I've had quite a few people tell me it's not fixed. Apple has confirmed this is a software issue, but they haven't said that it's fixed yet in this update, so we'll have to wait for them to actually push that and say that it's resolved, because right now it definitely is not. Apple also still needs to fix the storage bug. This seems to be a worse bug on this phone than it was on my previous ones. Sometimes it can take minutes to load. Some people are not seeing it load at all. You'll see it's taking quite a while. And if I do the same on 15.3, it's typically even faster. So normally before, it was nice and fast. I thought they fixed it with 15.3, but it was much faster than 15.4, at least for me. But of course, now it's not loading on 15.3 as well, but it was much faster. So it gives you an idea that there's still some odd bugs with that, as well as it not reporting accurate information as far as overall storage size. Additionally, the music bug is probably still there, where if you're streaming music and it's not downloaded, it's going to sort of heat up the phone more because it's using more processor power, and in turn, your battery life won't be as good because it's using additional power for no reason. This could be due to lossless audio or something else, but Apple has not resolved it yet, or they haven't said that they have, and most people are experiencing that odd bug with streaming, so I definitely think it's still there. Now, earlier in the week, Apple unexpectedly released watchOS 8.4.1. Many people thought we'd see iOS 15.3.1 maybe the next day or so, because the actual date for the watchOS release was February 8th, and we're still not at the 8th. So it's odd that they would have that marked as the 8th. And then also they mentioned with a previous update with Test Flight, if you use the Test Flight app, Test Flight allows you to test other apps that aren't out yet. They updated Test Flight and then referenced iOS 15.4 Beta 4, which we're not even at Beta 2 yet. So they had some odd dates with this. So maybe we'll see 15.3.1 early this next week, or maybe we'll just never see it. But they didn't specify everything exactly in the update other than that it's security updates, and I did a separate video about that. However, 15.4 Beta 2, I would expect that as soon as Tuesday next week. So maybe we'll have a 15.3.1 on Monday or Tuesday, and then followed by a beta release. But it's been a week or so. I think we're on a bi-weekly schedule, and I would expect a beta release at least between Monday and Wednesday of the upcoming week, typically Tuesday or Wednesday though, with a final release either at the end of February or maybe early March, as we're now hearing that there'll be an event in the early March. So maybe the 8th we'll have an event from Apple where we'll have new iPads as well as some additional things as well. So that iPhone SE 5G or third generation we could see as soon as then. So maybe we'll have the update within that week. That's typically what Apple does. So maybe we'll have about 3 more betas or so, maybe Beta 4, maybe Beta 5, and then we'll have the final version. So it looks like that could be the most reasonable expectation of when we'll see it. Now, as far as the community poll and comments, I want to take a look at a few of them because quite a few of you have commented since. At the time of this video, there's now 23,000 votes talking about the beta. 18% of you are using iOS 15.4 Beta 1. 70% are using 15.3 or older. 2% are still on iOS 14.8.1 or older. 1% are on 13.7 or older, and 9% are using Android. So quite a few of you using public versions or different versions. Now, as far as a few comments, let's take a look at them. And you'll see that there's a few different ones here. One from 27 minutes ago that says some bugs for sure, but the use of Face ID with a mask makes up for those bugs. Face ID with a mask is finally here. Tony said, I'm using iOS 15.4 Beta 1 on an iPhone 11 Pro Max. Battery health is on 90%. After updated, I can feel the battery drain real fast. Don't know, is it only me feeling it? And I would say no, a lot of people are having that experience. I am Dehan says, I have an iPhone 8 with 15.4 beta and an iPhone SE with 15.3, and I dare say the iPhone 8 runs smoother than the SE. What really is an advancement is the ability to in automation to turn off notify when run. Symptom Inc. says, I'm using 15.4 Beta 1. It's been great for me. Battery is great, no bugs. It's great that it brings the best feature, Face ID, while wearing a mask. Matt Bronson says, 15.4 Beta 1, the ESPN app crashes every time I try to open it. Besides that, it's fine. And ESPN will need to re-update their app to make it compatible with 15.4. So hopefully within the next few weeks, or maybe it's an issue with the beta, we'll see a fix for that. David Hansen said, having problems charging 2020 iPad Pro after 15.4 Beta 1. Charging is super slow, not even sure if it charges at all when it reaches some low charge. It had been on a charger all night, but only 16%. Tried different chargers and power banks, but still not working. Nobody says, I'm on 15.4 Beta 1 on my iPhone 12 Pro, and when I use the keyboard, there's a weird audio whenever I type. Sometimes people say that it actually duplicates the audio, and others say there's a different sound when maybe putting in a password. I haven't experienced that, but quite a few have messaged me about that. Cole says 15.4 Beta 1, so far it seems to be stable. I've only found one bug and it's presented itself twice since the update was installed. The first time was immediately after my phone powered back on and I needed to enter my passcode. The numbers were making a double click sound, as if I was clicking the number twice. The second time this happened was when I entered a two-factor authentication code on the pop-up numerical pad. I think it has something to do with the code that controls value inputs, but who knows? Other than that minor bug, it's been surprisingly stable. Debbie said iOS 15.4 Beta 1 on an iPhone 11 Pro, terrible battery life, home app crashes many times a day. Hazador says, I'm on iOS 15.4 Beta 1, mainly for the Face ID with mask feature on my 13 Pro, but I feel the battery life is garbage. Screen on time so far is 1 hour 15 minutes and somehow 19% used. I had no volume being played at all, and my brightness is below 50%. And so that's everything in this particular update. Of course, there's some new features. We'll probably find some additional ones as well. And if you found anything I haven't mentioned in this video or the previous videos, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. If you'd like to get your hands on this wallpaper, of course, I'll link it in the description like I normally do. And if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.